बुद्धि से समूह को मजबूत बनाया है और मीडिया के वातावरण में एक अद्भुत परिवर्तन लाया है। श्री आनंद।
Good afternoon, students and teachers. I am from Bombay, and therefore I really don't have the guts to start speaking to Delhi people in Hindi. Because we break into our own type of grammar, so I will avoid that. It's really a proud honor. Thank you to the organizers for having invited me here. While my introduction has been as what I did in my career, I want to sort of tell all of you students and teachers that I'm also from the CBSE. I did my schooling from UniversityDr long back, and therefore for me to come to do to sort of speak to people in CBSE is like coming back to alma mater. The other thing is that ICAR is also something. I did my master's degree in fisheries management back in the day from Indian Council of Agriculture Research backed Central Institute of Fisheries Education in Bombay. Now, therefore, for me, this coming to this institute, and my dad used to be in beekeeping, and he used to come to Pusa a lot, so I told my mother that I'm going to a place where he used to go a lot. So thank you for calling me here. I mean, you will wonder that what is a person who's done fisheries management and been in biology and that kind of academic qualifications doing in media. And in media, people usually sort of come from the sociology, politics, and economics and journalism kind of background. But that is precisely why I decided to sort of talk here on this thing called skills mastery for Cornerstone to career success. Now that is something that is in a very straight sentence, and it's sort of quite self-explanatory that you have to master skills to make a mark in your career and sort of have a great life. But what are those skills? Because evidently there are certain skills which we sort of focus on, and then there are certain other skills that actually come to play. So what is career? I'm just going to break up this title of skills mastery in career success. What is a career? I checked the dictionary meaning. It's what is called as a permanent calling, where people spend their work life to do things during their whole work life to get rewarded, appreciated, and in certain cases grow. But most people, everybody has a career, and therefore career is practically life. Students here, you can expect the global and Indian lifespan to increase by at least another 5 to 7 years over the next 30 to 40 years. By 2050, India's life expectancy is expected to be approximately 80 years. And I think, when we're talking about this audience here, we can talk about an 80 to 85 year life expectancy. 25 years, I think, is when a career starts. We can say it is 20, 21, 22. I started at 19. But yeah, 23 to 25 is when a career starts. And career usually extends for about 40 years. And the remaining 15, 20 years that you live also is a throwback and a sort of has some very, very strong relationships to your career. People call you to talk, people sort of from that field are your friends, etc. So we are talking about, for all of you, the next 50 to 70 years of your life, students. And career, therefore, is practically your life. I can tell you one thing, there is nothing more important. There is nothing more important than your career choice. What you do in your career is what you do in your life. What you will be in your career is what you will be in your life. And therefore, career choice is an extremely important decision. However, career choice usually at the beginning of your career depends on affinity and liking for that special something that we depend upon ourselves to do well. If we depend upon ourselves to do well, then only we can go and convince somebody that I can do it for you. And that is how you start your career. So the ability to do something in a competent manner, that word is very important. You need to be able to do it in a competent manner, which means it is a professional service. You are able to do it in a competent manner means somebody else can compete with you and take it away, and therefore you should be able to do it in a manner that is standard and better. Skill in the, and therefore, and that something is what we know as skill. So career choice depends on affinity and liking for that special something which we depend on ourselves. The ability to do something in a skilled manner, and that is the dictionary definition of the word skill. Skill assumes special knowledge. Skill assumes special knowledge, training and experience in a certain field. So if I go and say that I'm skilled in media, you will believe me. If I go and say that I'm skilled as a brain surgeon, you will not allow me to sort of come in. So skill is something that assumes training, assumes special knowledge. And that is where, from a career choice point of view, I want you people to sort of take one step back, and parents and children, one step back. This special knowledge and training, which, we can call it like, for instance, let us say, writing skill, sales skill, research skill, engineering skill, designing skill, web skill, data skill, physical labor skill, driving. These are all skills that we are attached to because we know we can do it. And then when we decide to start working, we naturally and really sort of gravitate towards that as our career choice. Which basically means that the last 3 to 5 to 7 years of education that we choose, and many a times it is not just chosen due to our own affinity, but also because of friends that we hang out during that period. And then we choose that because we feel that skill set is what is something that we should own, understand. We put in 3 to 5 to 7 years of our final years of education, and then we start into that as a career. This is where I want you guys to understand that skills are broader than what we understand skills as. Most of the things that we talk about as skills are in the area of what we call as technical skills. So writing is a technical skill, driving is a technical skill, engineering is a technical skill, teaching is a technical skill. But beyond that technical skill, there are a large area of other area of skills, which actually, and I am not from the education field, so pardon me if I am making, because I don't know, other than the fact that my children go to school and college and therefore I know what they are taught. I really do not know whether those things that we actually end up asking for from you people when you come to the workforce, or somebody like me who started at the lowest rung as a sales executive and come up all the way, what is it that I actually depended upon? Was it what I learned in college, or was it certain other life skills that we probably are not sort of looking at? And that, I think, personal experience, are a much larger predictor of career success than any technical skill that we talk about. And that is why I was wanting to sort of give you some examples of some people. Jeff Bezos did about 9 years in Wall Street. He was an investment banking professional before he got into logistics, which is something that is totally outside of what he was doing. J.K. Rowling was a secretary, and she ended up being one of the greatest authors in the English language. Rajnikant, all of us know, was a bus conductor. Giorgio Armani was in the army. Falguni Nair was an investment banker and started Nykaa. Mr. Kejriwal was a mechanical engineer working for Tata Steel. Oprah Winfrey, Warren Buffett, Amitabh Bachchan was a business executive. So, skills that we assume that are what we are actually, made of, and what we choose to make our career, may not always necessarily be the way that your career success, cornerstone to success. When you say your growth may not come from that space. As I said, I started with MSc in fisheries management. I did not find a good job in that field at that time. There was only ICAR had these annual ARS exams, and one had to wait for it. I needed a job in a hurry because financial conditions. So I took up a job as a medical representative at the age of 19, and I don't know, it just sort of moved and moved and moved, and I ended up in media. And I think I've done a pretty decent job, managing media all this time. So students, do not get so stuck into your very specific choice of what this particular course versus that particular course at graduation and post-graduation. While it does matter, there are a lot more things that are there within you which actually will lead you to greater success and predict better career overall than just the specific skill set that we are talking about. Now, what are those skill sets? again, from my own requirement from people that we look at, and also did a bit of a web search and a ChatGPT search, and figured out for the 21st century there are about 24 to 25 skill sets that we talk about. I've sort of cut out some and put in a few. There are about 20 of them, which I have been able to loosely break it up into 3 different parts besides the technical skills. Technical skill sets we talked about. Technical skill sets is very well taken care of, because the entire higher education industry is, over the last 20 to 30 years, has worked on making a match between what companies want in their first job vis-a-vis what you have or don't have and how we can fill that. Higher education industry is exactly that. So technical skill sets I'm not going to talk about. Technical skill sets you and your parents and your liking and your friends will sort of eventually determine. I'm talking about what is the other 3 skill sets that I think are very, very important. One is functional skill sets. Now, what are the functional skill sets? Functional skill sets, I believe, are eternal skills. They are your basic core, like DNA in your cell. Now, you know about DNA in the cell. The same DNA can become your hair cell, it can become your liver cell, it can become your skin cell, it can become your eye cell. Because it has the capability to become whatever. Similarly, these skill sets can be applied to any area to perform right. I mean, if I was a teacher, or I were a doctor, or I were a rocket scientist, I would do approximately the same way I am doing as a media manager, and that is my fundamental and eternal skill set. As you become aware of this, you can choose to mold your career and settle into a new permanent calling, if it comes your way. Fundamentally, what are these? In today's day and age, I think very, very important functional skills are. It's not in order, but I believe this is something that you can take it as the order. Adaptability, change, adaptability to change. Human history has periods of technological, equilibrium, and then a new technological equilibrium. The period in between is what is called as revolution, when you are having to move from here to there. But just as there is when you sort of in a change, for instance, you're changing stuff at home. The interior design, interior decoration changes at home. You don't take out everything. You have to sort of keep something, strip something, and that is how you sort of change stuff. Similarly, in society, when technology moves from one stage to the other, there is intense revolutionary change. And managing within a revolution is not about just embracing the new. It is also about holding on to the old till there is value in it, and be ready to jump to the new as and when it can. There is a return on investment on holding on to the old also. And that is what generations like the current generation, your teachers, people like me, and you people, because we are at a hockey stick growth, and India has been lagging about 20 years. So you people will also have the same kind of violent growth, violent change that we have seen in our life. So between 1990s and now, life has completely changed, and between now and 2050 or so, it will be even worse in terms of change, in terms of everything, in terms of this building, for instance, the way we sit, the way we talk. Now, that is something that you have no choice. This adaptability has to be part of your core. If you are not having it, you need to sort of start developing an attitude to be able to accept things that are coming at you, which may not always be good for you, and leave things may be good for you, even if you don't want to leave. So that is an important requirement. Adaptability and change. Adaptability skill is an extremely important requirement that we will look for executives. Problem solving and creativity, that is as innate and as basic as human society, human species itself. And everybody has it. There is nobody who's not creative. It's only not that just people who have long ponytails and have chulas and do sort of copywriting in agencies that are creative. Everybody is creative. You need to sort of be open to think and out of the box and be having the guts to do things in a new manner. Critical thinking. Now, this is an area which I find extremely lacking in most youngsters that we sort of deal with. And I probably have a bias. I feel CBSE students are different. compared to the other boards that one deals with. Certainly. And I think this critical thinking is something that is a skill set that you will need to read up, understand, and start getting used to, because without that you will not be able to understand change, you will not be able to comprehend and do what needs to be done in the new world. The second set of skills other than function. So we talked about the technical skills, which is the know-how and special knowledge which all of you all will go through. The first, other than that, is the functional skill sets, in which I talked about change, creativity, critical thinking, problem solving. I mean, there are many others, but these are fundamental to the new era. The second set is a non-negotiable skill set. Now, this is not something that you can say, I don't have it. You don't have a choice. And that is what we call social skill sets. Communication, teamwork, collaboration, listening, empathy. You know, you've seen the movie Castaway, or you've read the book Robinson Crusoe. An individual on an island, even if he stays there for 20 or 30 years, cannot make $1 billion unicorn, cannot become Prime Minister, or cannot be Ambani, right? You put the same people there and you put them on an island, they will not become Narendra Modi or Dhirubhai Ambani. They can't, because you need society to make you successful. You need your team members to work on the plans that you put out there. You need customers to buy the products. You need investors to sort of back your dreams and back your project. If you are not able to deal with other human beings, you cannot succeed. And this is true even if you be, even if you be a solo superstar, a singer, even if you are, a rock star, you need to be able to go work with the group. The moment you see rock stars, bands break up when the relationship goes off. So social skills, starting with communication. Communication is important. If people can turn around and say, no, I can't speak. I could not stand in my assembly, school assembly, K.J. they do that assembly. Once a year to say one doha, I would be like shivering. I've sort of learned the habit of standing in front of people. And for that, what I did was, I could sing. So I would deliberately go and sort of take these, not to get competitive singing to get a prize out of that, but to be able to come and take out my stage fright. You have to, and I'm not talking about communication only as stage fright. Communication means the ability to go to so-and-so person and give what you are thinking about and elicit the response that you want. And that confidence, if you do not have, you will not be able to deliver, even if you be a rocket scientist. So you need to be having communication as a skill set. Students, you will have to learn, do whatever you have to do, go to additional classes, do drama, do music, do whatever, but get into communication as an essential life skill. It's like breathing. Teamwork. You cannot escape teamwork. You go into an organization, you may be the best. You're being watched. In about 6 months to a year, we will, categorize you into teamwork, collaborator, non-collaborator, and that will have an impact on the kind of projects that you will be put on. That will have an impact on where you reach and where you go. Collaboration and teamwork is very, very important. And the other part of communication is listening to them. Be responsive to others. Empathy. This is social skills which are non-negotiable. Please, whatever you get into, I mean, you can get into, commerce or like the gentleman said, ink or whatever. Communication, social skills, you cannot escape that. And the last skill set, again, I'm talking to you from a career point of view. I mean, nowhere is it written as a particular thing anywhere on the things that I read, but I am sort of classifying these skill sets that I'm going to talk about under a skill set called management. Now, it is not necessary that everybody become managers. I have become CEO in my career. I've been CEO for the last 14 years in my 34-year-old career. And I was obsessed with managing, and therefore, even when I got into the job, I was looking at, how to handle and stuff like that. But that does not mean I will, while I've sort of been wrong in advising my children right in the beginning that, you have to become CEO. I don't think that is necessary. In the wide world that is now emerging in front of us, you have a great life, even if you're not managing and if you're doing gig work or you're doing work from home and being an artist.
Life is fantastic. I can tell you one thing, I'm extremely successful in my family, but all my cousins have the same lifestyle that I have. They wear approximately the same clothes. They watch the same Netflix. They eat the same food. So there is no much difference. So don't kill yourself into, sort of pushing this. I'm only saying this because it has been my career. Management skills in a career job, in a private service job is important. And that is because an enterprise, an organization, CBSE, ICAR, Times Group is basically a large set of tasks which have to be accomplished by this group of people. Now, how that gets done and how the new person who comes into the company reacts to that is something that is noticed, is observed by the HR, by the leadership, and that will give them cues and give you opportunities to move. I read a book very long back, maybe just about when I was just ending college, and that was by a gentleman called Harold Geneen. Harold Geneen was, in those days, he was before Jack Welch. I don't know whether you guys would have heard of Jack Welch either. Jack Welch was this legendary American manager. Before Jack Welch, Geneen was the head of CEO of General Electric. And General Electric, I'm talking about the 1980s when I read the book, was one of the top companies. You look at it as the gold standard in terms of management practices, etc. Harold Geneen's book had a very simple mantra for me, and I have applied it through my career. It's very, very simple. Please listen to this carefully. Harold Geneen said, the difference between lower level in terms of the role that you do and the highest level in terms of the salary that you get is exponentially high. In fact, it is even the difference between the executive vice president or director and chief executive officer of a large corporation is sometimes to the tune of 3 to 4 to 5 to 8 to 10. So if you want to get to that position, then you have to go up in life. I'm talking about private service job, okay? And I will end it by, advising you not to do this. What I have done, I will advise you to do something else. But in a career, if you want to sort of really earn money, you have to stop thinking about that job and start thinking about what is it that you can do on the ground. When you get into a new job, all of you will, 22, 23, 24, you get into a new job. Most of the times you go into an organization, even in the most stiffly, broken up and hierarchically set bureaucracies, you will find that there are a lot of jobs, a lot of tasks which are not guarded, which you can actually end up doing. Over and above what mandate has been given. You can do that additional thing. Okay, I don't know, I just can't give an example. But for instance, in my case, I was supposed to come and appoint, classified advertisement agencies across the city of Bombay. Because we had some criteria, go and meet the shops. If the criteria is okay, I approve. I was basically supposed to do that. What I tried to do is, I tried to do that job in 25 to 30% of the time only. But the 70% time remaining, I started making, notes of things that are not written down. So we made a, policy manual, sort of a rule book kind of a thing, which was not asked for, but was available, and that was used to improve the process of my department in early 1990s. So what it says is, start with taking responsibility. Responsibility is freely available, and most times nobody will grudge you if you do an additional task. In fact, people will even sometimes, willingly give you some part of their job because, everybody likes a little free time. So if somebody is there doing more work, it is only great. So when you take on more and more responsibilities, do more and more work, you will come to a threshold level of responsibility which cannot be discharged unless you have authority. Like for instance, you decide to come at 8:30 before everybody, and therefore you are the one who's opening the office. Somebody will have to eventually hand you the key. If this guy is coming at 8:30, the other guy is coming at 9. If he comes in at 8:30, why don't you give him the key? He is an authority. So you start getting authority when you take responsibility. When you keep on doing that, your authority will keep on increasing. And when informal authority increases to a certain threshold level, you will have to be given formal authority by the name of a promotion. And when that formal authority goes beyond a certain level, then only you start getting paid money. So responsibility leads to authority, leads to designation, leads to financial success. This is a standard model for you if you want to, spend your life like me and come into mid-50s and say that, yeah, I've done a great job. But I think in your lives, I had an occasion to speak to this, grand philosopher. I don't know whether you've heard the person's name, Nicholas Nassim Taleb. He wrote a book, Black Swan, about success in systems and businesses. He talks about how to make, how to sort of design success. His advice to me when I asked him about what Indian children should do, which I then sort of translated to my son, is that it is the greatest patriotic work to start a business. Most of us, people like me at least, we look at skill sets and then we look at finishing that and then sort of start getting a job and then do all this responsibility, authority, designation and money, and okay, great. But it's a very, very, very big and much greater high if you were to sort of start re-looking at things and do what this gentleman did, that boy who did the ink thing. My advice to my son, my advice to all of you would be, work for maybe 2 or 3 years, but start looking for opportunities where you can start doing things yourself. Now that requires a certain additional skill sets beyond the basic management skills. Now instantly, what are the management skill sets? Delivery, timely delivery, attention to detail, project understanding, decision making, conflict resolution, negotiation and leadership. A lot of this are in the area of character. They are not in the area of skill sets that you learn. They are in the area of character. Integrity to word or commitment to a customer, client or board. Taking responsibility for tasks, failings, mistakes, people and their destiny and existence itself is an act of courage. So that brings me to the point I made, the last point. I don't know whether I've taken too much time. That brings me to the last point I made about, the point I wanted to make about the reverse time sequence. The reverse time sequence of work when we apply what we learned in kindergarten to post-graduation. I found that my first job, first 3 years, I was using most of what I learned in my MBA class. Right? Because, and I'm sure if you're engineers, you'll find that those guys are actually on the shop floor doing approximately what was taught in their engineering class. Now when you move a little ahead, then after you sort of go out of your department, you have to sort of appreciate other people's departments, where you're getting a department head position or a sort of a business position. You will not be able to sort of appreciate it if you only understand your area of specialization. And I believe that is where your graduation degrees come in. And that is the reason I advise my children to not go into skill-specific graduation, narrow-focused graduation, do general graduation, do skill-specific post-graduation. So general graduation gives you a more well-rounded understanding of what is happening around and how to deal with situations beyond just your specialty. And the more you go into positions of, your senior department heads and company heads and dealing with industry associations, etc., I find that I'm drawing from learnings that I had in 3rd standard and 1st standard and KG class. Because that's where you learn to deal with other people. That's where you learn to push, get pushed, get up, scream, not scream. So there is this, I found it, there is this reverse order of time sequence of learning and what you're doing in your work, which fundamentally means that career success, beyond getting into the job, which definitely requires technical skills, is entirely about character. It's about human skills, and it's about paying attention to those little things that you learned as a child. And in our country, and CBSE, I know the kind of subjects that we have and the subjective stories that we teach in this particular curriculum, Panchatantra, Jataka tales. These are actually a lot more instructive in being able to navigate in this world as a career success, as a human success. And I think that is what you people need to, besides your technical skills, start doing. So I would leave you with, be focused on the skills part, in terms of higher education, because higher education mostly is dealing with that, and I feel right to go and reinvent the wheel. I am not one to advise who are taught to study. I have told my children to study in India, and they have sort of finished their graduation from here. Of course, post-graduation they push and they went. But basic graduation, in my opinion, you should do it out of here. You should be generalist, and you should focus on the other 70 to 80% of the skill sets, which many courses do try to put you through, but you will have to pick it up from your own way. Reading helps. I read a lot of history and biography, not just because of my interest, and that's not been my subject, but I find there's a lot of learning that you can learn from the life of people like Columbus and Napoleon and Ashoka and even present day leaders. I think that is, if you're looking at career success, this is what you need to be doing. Okay, thank you very much. I don't know if I'm taking more time.
Anandji, what is the name of the book Herald Genie wrote? What is the name of the book? You didn't.
RONDGENEE, and I don't remember the name of the book. I remember the name.
Sure, sir. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you, Mr. Anand, for that riveting talk. Can we have a loud round of applause, please? Anand personally Hindu. Anand is traveling all the way from Mumbai, so we were asking him, will it be possible for you to come? And he was saying it's always a privilege to talk to the next generation. And thank you for that. Questions? Yeah.
Okay. Sir, you were talking.
Questions that we will take on. Please take one, perhaps.
Can you hear me? AI is an excellent and fantastic innovation, and what we say of AI is, I would say, embryonic. AI is going to be a lot more than what it is currently. AI is going to revolutionize content creation. What you do, what is AI actually? AI is a much more sophisticated version of the basic keyword search that we used to be able to do with Google. So, for the last 20 odd years, or even 20 odd years at least, 20 odd years, anybody who's writing anything, or anybody who's talking anything, like including today what I've come with skills, etc. I had to do one Google search. What does it mean? What is the field? All AI is doing is, it is picking up things from all this, applying additional nuances and opinions and giving it to you. So, in content creation, search and research are going to be absolutely revolutionized because of the availability of this technology, and I think that is where it is going to be the most used. From a gimmick point of view, which I think is not the right thing to do. From a gimmick point of view, you could put out anchors and voices, synthetic, to sort of say that this can be done by machines. At one level, I personally believe, and this is not my company's thought here, but I personally believe, synthetic and AI-driven front of camera voices and faces, will scare off two very important communities. One is people like you who want to come into it, think that, what is the need for us, then, we're not going to be required. And that's not good, because the constituency of human beings who will get into the industry is very, very important. Second is the consumer itself. The consumer will eventually pass a judgment saying that, okay, this is anyway synthetically constructed news. So how different is that word associated with synthetic to fake? So to that extent, I think AI use in research will revolutionize it, and it will sort of make it much more vibrant, and it will fundamentally reduce costs of, so you can probably sort of have a good AI engine behind you, which will have already searched all the things that you want to. Suppose you are a person who wants to talk about, let us say, a vague thing like Formula One, European Formula One. It's a very specific, it's like, geographic and sport, hidden sport verticals. In that small area, what happened since last night to this morning when you woke up? It would have picked it all up.
Add to that the kind of nuance that you want to give. I mean, is there a human story? Is there an affair of one driver with some model? You know, that kind of nuances you can feed the system. It will already search and give you those stories. It will also probably write the grammar and give it to you, and then you can go and sort of correct it and present it. So that, I think, is my present view of the subject. It can change substantially over the way it's sort of, but it's good.
Anandji, I think we have to leverage natural, emotional, and very importantly, the artificial intelligence through our intelligence, which is actually called as spiritual intelligence. India is all about being spiritual. We cannot inherit a religion. We have to read it. So your whole talk was all about how we can leverage our children in CBSE to the next level. So it should be like, we have to, instead of calling it vocational education, we should call it professional education and concentrate on leveraging natural intelligence through our spiritual intelligence and our emotional intelligence, because we are emotionally very powerful, we Indians, because we have stable families. So AI is we should not become the servant of AI, but we have to become the master of using AI as a prompt engineering. This is what I have all to say. Thank you.
I hear you. I think, you know, it's like back in the day when the calculator came home, late 70s or early 80s, Dad got it. And you know, after showing it to us, he didn't allow us to use it because mathematics make up power. When I joined Times, I used to sit and do linear regression, statistic, actual calculation, and do the graphs to sort of predict. Excel has come, and the calculators become so you know, all visible that I think you guys even allow in some exams, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know, but I think it is. So similarly, I think you know, AI is to natural intelligence what, let us say, motor cars is to the feet. While we love our feet and we should be walking, and walking is good for us, AI is a method by which it will take us far with lesser effort, and it is never going to be master.
Yeah.
That is something that we should, you know, we are basically thinking that AI is sitting out there to, you know, get the better of us. AI doesn't have a motive to make more money or to eat more food like human beings have. We have the competitive requirement between me and you. You know, there is a feeling of competition because Earth has finite resources, so that is programmed in us. I don't think AI's capabilities are going to be unnecessarily fed. Of course, it can be also programmed by somebody who wants to do it, but as many people, I mean, it's like saying that hackers will take over the universe. No, they don't. Hackers are there.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that our banks and our rockets and our planes are not sort of functioning. So I think AI is something that we should openly accept. Again, with students and their parents, please do not, you know, I've heard many friends of mine who say, no, हम लोग उसको allow नहीं करते हैं because पता नहीं उसको चला के फिर वो लिखेगा नहीं. There is a friend of mine who's an artist, I mean, whose son is an artist, and he's been dabbling with using AI to produce synthetic art. He's fantastic. He says, no, that's sort of going to be, you know, blocking, you know, natural creativity. You know, we have to know that we are never going to be in the future. We are going to die. They are going to be in the future. In their future, this is going to be there. We shouldn't be holding them back. I mean, it's like saying that, you know, people who are doing, what is that called, those computer games and video games are today working for the US Air Force and probably for the Indian Air Force. No?
Yeah.
They are sort of sitting and doing drones and bombers using the same skill set. I mean, when we were playing it, mommy said, no, don't do that.
Yes, sir.
So, we don't know. These skill sets are skill sets of the future. While, yes, we have a point of view and a judgment, and we are right in our judgment, we're not going to live in that future. So, I would suggest that AI is not going to be something that it's going to be there. It's like water, it's like calculators, it's like mathematics. It's not going to go back. So, it is better that your child is proficient in it and dabbles in it and is better than other people who are not dabbling. So, I think it's going to be not AI versus human beings. And there's a standard cliche statement that is said. It's about people who have accepted AI versus people who have accepted it late. And that's going to make a big difference, huge difference.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Can we have a huge round of applause, please? Can I suggest one field that will never be replaced by AI?
Australia.
They are going to be MCs and hosts like this. Because we know how Madeline's timetable standard. So can we please request our team to present M.K.Anand sir with a token of our gratitude,
Behind the
please.
schedule, 1 hour. So if you raise questions like this,
I won't.
May I request
I hope you understand.
Manoj Kumar
Am I allowed to be
Srivastava,
here?
Director, Professional Exams, CBSE,
You are the
kindly
grace
come
of
and
the
all the
audience.
best.
But
Thank you.
this
No, I
is-
will not.
Thank you.